Hey everybody, Boris Lasser from PK Forex. Welcome to our Forex Daily Technicals for 5/17/13. It's the end of the week into the Friday open. Trading foreign exchange on margin carries a higher level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. So I ask you to read this disclaimer very carefully right over here to understand all the risks associated with trading on margin and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Well, I want to start out today with dollar yen. Dollar yen exhaustion, I think, may be the story of the day today, because we failed again to hold the 150 level. Now, this could be nothing. I mean, we could just be sort of consolidating through time, and there could be one final burst higher. But one of the key things that happened today was that U.S. data started to really disappoint. This has been a week of disappointing U.S. data after last week's very, very positive U.S. data that pushed us all the way through through the key 100 level and basically through the 102s. So I think we may be entering the sort of a second leg of the sentiment here, where we are moving backwards a little bit and seeing a little bit of a correction in dollar yen as the market reassesses the idea that U.S. economy is really that hunky-dory. Tomorrow we have University of Michigan. That could be a tell. If the number is negative, the break here right now, obviously, the really critical level is the 101.75, because that's been the value proposition for the last couple of days. They bought it right underneath 102s. If we take out the 75s, I think 101.50 is in the offing, and possibly we can unwind all the way underneath 100. Basically, what are the lows here? This is about 100, 101.33, probably somewhere around 101.25. That would be the second test of support in dollar yen. So there is a potential here for a little bit of a retrace after after really a very, very big up leg move over the last week and a half, and it's natural. The fact that we making lower highs is definitely a technically worrying sign that dollar yen may be on its way towards a little bit of liquidation over the next 24 to 48 hours. So we'll see how that pans out. The flip side of this is if I'm wrong, and if we take out 102.75s, then we're really on a path to take out the 103s. And the short squeeze probably continues, and they're going to be able to push it all the way through the 103s. But in the meantime, I think the prices are telling us that they're headed a little bit downward rather than upward, given the price action that we see today. Now, euro, on the other hand, kind of holding. We had a lot of negative euro commentary end of the day that swamped the pair. It looked sort of ready for a recovery, took out 29s, kind of held it, and then got destroyed by negative euro commentary out of the eurozone, both from the European officials and then also from the Fed officials saying that they're actually going to step off the gas and perhaps ease up on QE, something I categorically refuse to believe they will do too early, especially when there is very, very uncertain evidence that the U.S. economy is really out of trouble just yet. So anyways, bottom line is you're kind of holding. 28.50 is definitely looking to be a relatively decent shelf of support. We break down to 28.30, completely different story. We take out the 30s. I think we really have 28 and underneath 28s in view. If we can recover 29 overnight, and really if we can recover sort of the 29.30s throughout the day, then the path towards 50 is very, very strong. But 50 is another shelf of resistance. And basically, the recovery path here is going to have to fight several points of resistance. The critical one is going to be 130. I really don't think we're going to have this one-way power move all the way through the 30s. If we do make it to 30, we're definitely going to probably come back and retrace back as former support now becomes resistance for the trade. But in the meantime, there's still a relatively thin but decent chance that the recovery is in place here as long as we kind of hold the lows overnight. And we'll see how the European market trades out tomorrow. But if we're trading closer to 29s by North American session, it's likely that we're going to try to make a run towards the 29.50s. Cable had a really powerful move up today. That was a big surprise in cable, actually. Look at this burst up through the 53s, came back off of it, but it was really talk about planting a shelf here around the 52s. It definitely built that for the last 2 days, and then today's takeout was pretty strong. The fact that we took out 53s kind of looks relatively decent. So long as we stay at, above 52.50s, another run at 53s looks very likely, and perhaps if we can take this out on the second move, 53.50s then come into view for cable. And then Aussie has, of course, been a one-way ticket to the downside, just been a disaster for anybody who tries to buy this. Every dip has just been a slice, like falling catching knife. But it does look like the 98 is sort of kind of holding for the time being. And there may be a rebuild. It tried to rebuild its way up towards 98.50, or it actually went all the way up to 98.81 before, again, positive dollar flows kind of swamped it. But halfway decent news out of New Zealand today. Support around the 98s. If we get any kind of anti-dollar move, a dollar corrective move in Europe, this may come back again towards 98.50s. If we take out 98.50s the second time, you would have more confidence that you have a recovery at least to the 99s in Aussie dollar. Breaking new lows right below 97s. If we were like at 97.90, 97.85, then 97.50 definitely comes into view. It just becomes a pause on a way to further downside movement. But overall, I think the really interesting trade today, the really big focus is going to be dollar yen. Let's see how it trades out in Asia. Let's see if this exhaustion on the price charts starts to resolve itself to the downside, or whether the dip buyers, which you see obviously underneath the 102s, are still strong enough to basically hold support and try to push us to fresh highs. This is Boris Schlossberg for BK Forex. Wishing you guys the best of luck, the best of trading. Have a great rest of the final day of the week, and I'll see you at BK.